Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sold Sign Real Estate Unplugged. We are your favorite hosts and realtors, Lauren
and Naya.
And we are so happy you decided to join us for another week. So let's get into our story.
All right. So I once worked with a buyer who was pre-approved for a significant amount of money. When we sat down to talk about their goals, they made it clear that while they could technically afford a high price, they didn't want to max out their budget. They had a specific monthly payment in mind and were determined to stick to it. They explained that they wanted financial flexibility. This means room for traveling, savings, and unexpected expenses. This was a smart approach, but it added an interesting challenge, balancing their approved amount with their ideal monthly payment. We started looking at homes in their desired price range, but many didn't meet their expectations for size, location, or amenities. At one point, they were tempted to stretch their budget for a house they loved. I reminded them that this would push their monthly payment higher than they were comfortable spending, and they appreciated the reality check. To help them stay within their financial comfort zone, I suggested exploring homes in up-and-coming neighborhoods where their money could go further. After a few weeks, we found a home that checked almost all their boxes: good size, great backyard, and within their target monthly payment range. They were thrilled, and the best part was that they stuck to their plan. At closing, they thanked me for helping them prioritize what was important to them. The buyers told me that staying within their budget gave them peace of mind and confidence in their decision. Love that.
I know. We love telling a buyer, reminding them about their consultation and what number they told us in the beginning.
Yeah. I think I'm so big on not maxing out your budget, because in general, especially when the market is a bit more competitive, you want to have the ability to be creative and like do whatever you need to do and have wiggle room within your budget. So if I'm just going to throw a number, are pre-approved for $350. Let's just say you're pre-approved for $350,000. You don't have to look at homes, and you probably shouldn't look at homes that are listed at $350,000, because now you don't have wiggle room to offer a little bit more, or to maybe it needs a few things, or you want to do some cosmetic things, but you're already maybe stretching like what feels comfortable monthly for you, and you want to do additional things in the home. Like, no, you're stretching yourself. So it's good to shop a little bit under, to just give yourself some wiggle room, so you're not really feeling financially stressed like the whole time, because you just went at the top from the get-go. So
no one wants to be house poor.
Yeah, and you don't want to be house poor. So
they want to travel. Like, who does that? They want to travel, do things. Like, I feel like that's only fair. That was a smart move on their end, and to walk into it. I think
to know from the beginning,
right? I think some buyers are like shocked when they get out into the market and are like, wait, this is all I can get for this amount of money. This is not what I was expecting. But you got to remember what your goals were from the beginning. And it's probably, if this is like your first house, it's probably not your forever home.
Exactly.
So put in some equity, buy it at a lower price, fix it up a little bit, just do like little fix. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but while you're living there for 5 years, maybe do something, and you're going to, gain some equity, and you can sell it later.
Yes.
And buy something that you really want, but stick with those goals of what you really want to do. And I'm glad the buyer thanked them, because I'm thinking they're going to thank you later.
Yes.
They may not be happy in the moment, but then realizing like, I really don't want this payment to be this. And the fact that the realtor did not push them and reminded them,
exactly,
this is what you said you wanted. So, because it can get a little, not only overwhelming, but it can be a shock when you're out there looking at homes, and then you're like, you see something that you really love, and you're like, man, this is $400,000. I think I want to go with this. And it's like, no, don't do that. You're going to be mad later when you're paying that every month mortgage. You may love the house, but then you're like, man, I can't put any groceries. All I can do is be in the house.
And, people be like, I'm inside enjoying my rent this weekend, or I'm inside enjoying my mortgage this weekend. And that's great, because I'm going to enjoy mine too.
Right.
But You don't want it to you don't want it to be because you really cannot enjoy anything else.
Right.
We want you to have a home and enjoy life and, reach all of your goals.
Yeah.
So with this big goal, you don't want that to stretch you to anything's going to break you after this financially. That's not the place that you want to be in.
No,
So.
and you don't know what could
Comes
happen. Yeah. What if, God forbid, what happens if you happen to lose your job and they're laying people off? You want to make sure that you can afford your mortgage, or you have enough saved up that you can afford it, and it won't necessarily break you as much as if you had a mortgage that it was just man, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck with my mortgage, instead of you have some money left over and then maybe you're like, okay, this is kind of doable for maybe 3 months. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you, hopefully not, this won't happen, but if you get laid off, you're kind of screwed because you need those paychecks in order to pay your mortgage. So you don't want to be in that situation at all. It's not fun.
No, you don't want to be in that situation. So having a number in mind, understanding what your pre-approval, I would say maybe working backwards, kind of forward and backwards a little bit. So having a number in mind is great, but I think working backwards from what your pre-approval amount is and knowing, okay, this $350,000, what is the general monthly mortgage payment? What number is that? And then how much bit more down do I want to go to be conservative or, comfortable from there? To know maybe around what sales price you want to stay in. So a little bit of I like this number, how far down, or, where meeting in the middle from the pre-approval amount and the number that I feel comfortable paying monthly. Where does that land me? But yeah, and, be confident and firm and, feel good about how I think responsible it is to stick to that.
Yeah.
And that again, you'll thank yourself and your realtor for reminding you later, when it's coming every month on the 1st. Okay.
Yep.
So you'll be happy. You'll be happy that you stuck with it. I don't think it's ever something that, you'll regret.
Yeah.
Staying smart and responsible. That's the word. Very responsible of you.
With that. Very responsible. Yeah, you do not want to try to be out here keeping up with people, and you don't know what people's situation. Ain't nothing to keep up with. You don't know what other people's situation is. They may be trying to keep up too, and they over here struggling. You have no idea. Don't
so keep up with yourself.
Please do, and be happy. You're oh, how can you still go out and you still have a mortgage? Because my mortgage payment is very low, and I did that on purpose.
Responsible.
And they said on here, I want to get your opinion on this, with their realtor told them to look at I think they said to look at
they said up and coming neighborhood.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? And when we talk about location a lot and how important, the one thing you can't change, right, is location when it comes to a property. So how do you feel about that? And what would be up and coming for you? What would you, I guess, consider that as?
I mean, I think between Baltimore and DC, there's lots of pockets of neighborhoods that are considered up and coming. And so looking ahead at development plans is always a good idea. Knowing are they opening shopping centers around here, or what is opening up? What kind of, I was about to say what kind of traffic, but what kind of buildings and developments do you see happening around the neighborhood when you're looking at the house? That can kind of give you an idea of the up and coming. Are they maybe building new schools because there's lots of families and they're making room to have, good ratio in the classrooms, whether you have a kid or not? It's nice if they're building a new school,
right,
around the corner or, whatever. So up and coming can
mean different
really
things.
just mean different things or different areas of development. So basically it can also just be older homes, older parts of neighborhoods that I see this a lot in Baltimore. They're slowly, it's almost one by one, house by house down the block are turning over, getting flipped, and it's a slow development, but it's kind of like one by one the houses are getting done over, they're being redeveloped, redone, whatever, renovated. So that can be considered up and coming.
That's true. Huh.
I think.
I feel like that's a good way to put it. Because I always wonder, like, we talk about location so much, and one thing you can't change, like, how do you know? I love that looking at the development plans, which I never look at. Don't judge me.
I be looking at like cities I don't even live in. I be like, oh, this is nice. They're getting a community center.
Man, why can't we get that? What's going on?
I do. I be
look at that.
I'm looking at other neighborhoods like, dang, they're getting this.
Where are you looking? Like, how do you find?
You literally just have to Google it.
Oh, just like development plans.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Development plan. Like,
I need to do that
by the county. I generally by the county. Sometimes I think like the unincorporated or like, unincorporated communities might have their own little thing.
Yeah.
But they're still like in a county, but sometimes their development plan, it will be like smaller and different. Like I remember where I was renting before, that was like an unincorporated part of PG County. And they had kind of like their own development stuff, their own development plan. But most of the time it's just like under the county or like maybe by the neighborhood name.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna look at ours and see what we got.
I know, because really they're done like 30 years out. But what I would love to look into more is like, well, when these meetings are happening, because they're not just doing a meeting like every 30 years or whatever. So I would love to see really how often these development plans actually develop. They actually like do the things that they said was,
they're gonna do.
Like how much of the plan actually unfolds is like what I'm always curious about. Like, I'm looking at it today, but when it was written 30 years ago, what is here and what is not here based on what y'all said was going to be here. That's what I'm interested in, that I would like to like dig into.
That's a good way to put. I didn't think about that.
Because also like we can just look at these development plans all day, but how do we? I mean, is there a good track record for this stuff actually happen?
Right.
You said is
someone like voting? Like, are we voting on it?
Yeah,
are they
like the whole community meetings and like approve?
Oh, so that's what the meetings are
development
for.
Plans and stuff like that. That's why I was like, they for sure are not just like a once every 30 years thing.
Right.
And there's something that happens every, I want to say like 7 years too. I don't remember like what part of that is, but there's like little pieces. I don't know,
but I like that thing, looking at what happened 30 years ago, like, oh, these were the plans and there's all this stuff really here,
or is it still up and doing well?
So, is it still developing? Are we still getting new things? Are we still,
or is like did they build it and now it's just it's dead?
I know our development plans, it must have been 30 years ago. Everyone must have wanted chicken, because when I tell y'all, we got so many chicken places, y'all, that I'm thinking, and I love chickens.
And that's a good point.
But my God,
because today, how many people want chicken like that? Like,
right.
Not being funny, but like, everybody's on like a health thing. So like, yes, it's nice to have some of the chicken places, but like, 30 years ago, they're like, put chicken everywhere. But like today, everybody might not want chicken like that.
Do we want we
Chick-fil-A? Yes,
always. That can go into every development plan. Okay, I don't care. That can't go anywhere.
That's always in the plan.
That's the one chicken place that everybody needs. Okay,
yes.
Every community, I don't care where you are, everyone needs a Chick-fil-A in their life. Okay, so that's a really good way to put it. Looking at development plans for like up and coming communities.
But I will say, I know I said like 30 years. This is the last thing. I don't think that, and I guess we can never think this, all development that happens, I don't think, and I don't know, I don't think like all development that happens was always thoughtfully written 30 years ago. Let me explain what I mean.
Yeah.
For example, okay, the new Baltimore Peninsula neighborhood, I don't know that was something that was thought about 30 years ago. I feel like that is something that was thought about, and I don't know how long ago, but was thought about more recently than that as a new measure, a new tactic of revitalization in that area. Like, I don't think they had that in the plan for 30 years ago. Right. I think it was something more recent, like somebody was like, oh, this is a great space and opportunity to develop, and then it came about.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I guess because I'm thinking
more so
now,
the need maybe
yes,
of
I feel like it's a need because they have new houses over there, new restaurants. So like population needs, housing needs.
Yep.
So I guess like I don't want to. I guess I don't want it to sound like it's so stuck on the 30 years because like development is just that, like a development. Things are changing and developing, and I think adjusting to population and market and trends. And there's all these things about, you know, different strategies or, you know, upcoming opportunities to address like the rental crisis and not having enough rental and not enough affordable rentals, and same thing for housing. So yeah, just wanted to like clarify that.
Yeah, because that probably wasn't in there.
Yeah, I don't think that was right. I think that's probably a perfect example of something that wasn't in the plans, but like was thought of as a good idea and like solution
to develop the community,
and like what's needed right now.
Yeah, which it was and it is needed.
So yeah,
okay, that's it. I like that. I think it's a great way to put it. We needed that. That was a great point. Okay.
So yes, stick to your budget. Explore what's up and coming. What that might mean to you,
because it can mean different things to different people.
Things. Yeah. So
because some people are like, well, I don't want to go to this neighborhood. Or
I was gonna say some people here up and coming are like, no thanks.
But then you realize, like, I mean, I didn't want to necessarily buy when we bought our first house, you know, in Baltimore County. Like, I didn't necessarily want to personally, like, I didn't want to do that. But that's just something that I realized when we were trying to buy in a different county. I was like, this ain't gonna work. We cannot afford this. Okay. It's just, and that was a reality check, like straight up a reality check. And I'm like, all right, we could do what we got to do. But then 4 years later, we were able to come back into the county that we wanted to buy in, and we were able to do that. So, and it's funny because the community that we bought in Baltimore County is very up and coming now. Like it was nothing like it was like
just not much happening, but now you're like, oh
yeah, they put brand new townhomes over there. Like in 2016, there was none that, it was all just like land. And I'm like, oh, like the community we moved into was like nice and it was cool. But then when we built here and we realized we went back just to go back, we have renters in there. So we go back or whatever, check the whole community, brand new townhomes, like everything is built up. And it's like, oh, we were not expecting that. I don't look at development plans. I probably should have. I probably would have known that. But I'm like, oh, they are like building this up. So now our homes are worth more because they put these new construction in. So now it's like, oh, this is so definitely just stick within that budget, because I'm swear you will be so much happier. And then you still have that equity that's not going anywhere, because the home prices are going to continue to go up. So if you buy now, and you know, whether it's low, you're in the $200,000-$350,000 price range, and then you sell in 4, 5, 7 years, home prices, I mean, I'm telling you, that house is probably going to be worth $450,000, $500,000 easily. And because you're in an up and coming neighborhood. It wasn't coming when you came in, but now it's up, and it's coming, so you're good. So
sometimes,
it works.
you know, it's all, I was about to say, it's all a game. It's
it is. And
but there's a smart way. Right. Real estate is a long game. It's a long-term play.
You say that all the time, and it's so true.
It's a long-term play. So, like, it might not be shaking today, but it will be shaking another day. Yes. So, you know, stick to your budget. Be okay with a little up and coming. Yeah.
And know what's included too. Sorry, really quick. Like what's included in your budget. Like make sure you include
parts of
like HOA, condo fee, because that doesn't come out of your mortgage payment, right? You have your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Make sure you know that part. But then also know, so if your budget is $2,000 a month and your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is $2,000 a month. Don't forget, if you're in a HOA, if you're in a condo, you're going to add an additional, let's say, $250 to $400 a month to that payment. So now, even though your regular mortgage is $2,000, now you still have your HOA or condo fee, and you cannot skip on that fee.
I was about to say
that it doesn't come out of your mortgage. That's paid separately to the condo or the HOA association where you live, and they will come and take your house. Like, don't play with the HOA or condo fee. Like, I'm telling you that that, don't do it. Just don't. So all I'm saying is that is in addition to your mortgage. So if you want it to be $2,000, included everything. That doesn't include utilities. That does not include like your electric. That doesn't include that.
So think about that.
Yeah, think about that as well. If you want everything included, let's
then
say
you really
22, you really need to think about
You really need to think about it then.
You need to be at like $1,500 for just your mortgage payment, another $350 or whatever for your condo or HOA fee monthly, and then your utilities is going to be an extra $250 or whatever to keep you in that $2,000. And it's hard right now to be in $2,000 a month, especially in our market. We're in a DMV. It's very difficult. It's very expensive out here. So, I'm not telling you to move if you want to be in the 2,000, but just be prepared that you will be looking at homes, in the $200,000 price point, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We want to make sure you stay within your comfortable monthly payment. So, just wanted to put that out there for your monthly and what's included. So.
Yes, that was a good point because, we don't want you then to have an additional shock of like, well, I was only comfortable with this, but now there's condo or there's utilities. So think about it all and be clear with yourself about what you're including in the budget. Couldn't have said it better.
Yep. And you'll ask your lender. Your lender will tell you, before you even go see a house, send it to your lender or send it to your realtor, and we'll send it to the lender and say, hey, how much is this house going to be with everything included? That way you don't waste your time going to go see it if it's something that you're just not interested in, or it doesn't fit within your budget. Send it to them first, let them run the numbers, and then we can move forward from there.
Right.
So, yeah. So I think, is that it?
That's all.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us again with another episode. We really hope this helped. We wanted to just make sure we give you as much education as possible when it comes to getting pre-approved. And in another episode, I'm sure we've already talked about this, but we will talk about how to get pre-approved and some different ways to do so. But we just wanted to keep you guys educated with this one. So you guys can follow us on all podcast platforms. If you want to watch us, you can watch us on YouTube. If you want to listen to us, you can go to our website. We will have all of our shorts on YouTube as well. We will also have it on Instagram and TikTok. So please follow us, share, and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week.